babe, are you there? Hi, hello, and thank you so much for joining. Let's talk about it with Lady T. It's been a minute, and I'm so happy and excited to be back. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Lady T, Boss Lady T, and I am just elated that you are joining me. And this is the season finale. Yay! Wow, this has been definitely a journey. Let me tell you, it has really pushed me out of my comfort zone. Um, I just don't know. If it was something that I had to think to do on my own, it never would have happened. However, I'm so grateful to my mini me's and my daughter in love. They kind of pushed me toward this and said, "Hey, you got this." Where I was thinking, who would really want to hear what I have to say? But God made a way, so always a reason for the season. And I'm just grateful to them because they really, really said, no, you could do this. And I was really skeptical about it, but I am so grateful that I took that leap of faith and I stepped out there and I did it. I also want to thank my babe, my engineer, and mommy's little man for his support. They get busy. He that Babes work full time and full time in ministry as well, but he take out his time and he dedicate that to helping me get through my podcast. So I appreciate him for that, and um, yeah, I appreciate him. Shout out to you, babes. And mommy's little man, he's working full time and he has a little one. And he supports me. So I'm grateful for that. Let's talk about what I've been up to. Oh my goodness, I've been up to so much. I recently celebrated my 58th birthday. Yay! On the 25th of September. 58 years. I believe I was talking to my daughter. I'm not even sure who I was talking to, but I said to her something that my babes had said to me in the past. He said, when you're growing up, you be like, I can't wait to be 10. I can't wait to be 18. I can't wait to be 21. But whoever says I can't wait to be 50 or I can't wait to be 58, so it is truly a blessing that God has spared me and saw fit for me to see 58 years. And I am forever grateful to Him for that. So, um, my babes took me to Atlanta, Georgia for the weekend. I had such a great time hanging out with our nephew and niece and our cousins. Ty and Melissa and Tyrone and oh my God, I can't believe and Kim. I almost just forgot Kim's name. And hanging out with Kim. I had the best time ever. And of course, I did some retail therapy. I was a little rushed on that. But I got a chance to go back to the mall and complete that. I had the most it was just a awesome weekend. And so while there, hubby surprised me with tickets that him and the kids pulled together, kept it a secret from me. And I went to see John B. I was so happy. I'm pretty sure those of you who know me have seen the video floating around Facebook about how surprised I was. I was truly surprised. And usually he can't keep anything from me. But I do have a few of the kids that I know I could get stuff out of. And okay, and I realized that I hadn't spoken to them, and I guess they didn't speak to me because they didn't want to tell the secret. But I had such a great time, and at the end, I went and I put my hands up really high, and he shook my hand. I was like, yes, yes, yes. So I have been up to that, and I was up to that, and I had such a wonderful time in Atlanta. I cannot wait to go back. I'm a fall winter girl, so I'm ready to get some cold so I can bring out the boots and the jacket. So hopefully we get a chance to go back in the winter time. Also, we had our first Sunday service, which was amazing. It was amazing. Pastor talked about how we let fear control us, and how when Peter was on the boat and how he stepped out on the boat and he took his eyes off God and he began to sink. So our thing is to keep the fear from coming within us. When we step out on the boat, we have to stay focused. And as long as we keep our eye on God, He won't let us down. He'll make sure that we are well taken care of, that we are never alone as long as we're focusing on Him. And I know sometimes we go through those battles and those situations where we just get so frustrated. However, when we lean on Him, His word never fails. He says He got us, and we have to believe that He truly have us. Now, with that being said, go ahead and roll that footage, and then we're going to get right into it. Hey, welcome back. I just want to let you know that I appreciate you all for hanging out with your girl for this journey that I've been on when I started this podcast. So I do appreciate those of you who show up for me every video. Those who that even just support me when they go back and watch it and they leave their comments. So even if you have comments during the podcast, we'll also look at those. But go back and just kind of check things out or re-listen to it. That would be great. um, Make sure you like and share. That helps with the ratings, and that's truly appreciated as well. Before we get into the topic tonight, I just want to remind you of some of the things that we've already had. We had Don't Disturb My Peace. And when we talked about don't disturb our peace, we talked about boundaries and not allowing people to come in and just suck up your energy. That was also a good one. And don't ignore the red flags. That's one of my favorites. And that one was basically like when you see a person the first time, take them for what they are the first time. Do people change? Yes, people change, but you can't allow people to walk on you and step on you while they're trying to change because it does something to you. So don't ignore the red flags. Another one was what women want. We talked about how we want someone to understand us, someone to say, not not that I'm always nagging you, but you have a genuine concern about certain things. Want somebody we can cuddle with. We want somebody that we can grow old with, not somebody that we're constantly in conflict with. Um, And I know a lot of women will say, "Oh, God sent me this man, and I know God. I know it was from God because I saw the sign." It could truly well be it from God. But remember, what God blesses, it brings no sorrow. And if you go through some ups and downs, that means God's going to be in the midst of it to help you out of it in relationships, in any relationship, marriage, brother and sister, mother, daughter, father, son. If God is in the midst of it, God's going to bring you out of it. For romantic relationships, you know, let if God truly brought you through to it, He'll definitely bring you through it. But you got to focus on Him and make sure that He is the one that made the decision, not you. Um, we also talked about a modest dress versus sexy dress. We came to the conclusion of um, the way you dress is the attention that you draw. So if you want to be, you want someone that's going to be decent, that's going to see your heart, not your body, then you want to dress appropriately. Not saying that you can't have your sex appeal, because most women have their own sex appeal. So you don't want to overshadow what you're looking for. I notice I see in a lot of the videos that I watch, I notice that a lot of men say, "Oh, she's smash material, but she ain't wife material," and we don't want ever put ourselves in a situation where we're smash material, because God created us better than that. So that was one of the that was a few of the topics. I tried to put them all, but I only came up with those two. And the first one, I just actually introduced myself. I was a little nervous on that one. This is my first time being on a podcast without my partner in crime. So, but I think I've gotten better. I got to look at the camera more. Just a few things that I have to work on for next season. So, but I am so also looking forward to next season. So, let's move on to our topic. Our topic for tonight is to shine without apology. And as I thought about this topic, I also came to the conclusion that it seemed like all of the topics that we have discussed within this season was all about self care, self building yourself up, motivating yourself and moving forward. So, and I wanted to continue that at the end. Hopefully, next season we'll have a little bit more powwows. Also, if you want to call in, this is a live podcast. You can call in at 754-222-2219. I would love to hear, your suggestions, your recommendations, whatever it is that you want to add to. I put a script, but if you call in and you want to ask just a question, hey, you never know. Someone in the audience might be listening and might have that same question, or they may even have an answer. So please don't hesitate to call in and ask your questions, or even if you just want to make a suggestion toward the topic. So we're talking about let your light shine. Have you ever felt like um have you ever felt like you had to dim your light down to make other people feel comfortable? You hold back, like maybe you may have an idea on your job, or you may, maybe have an idea for a get together for a girls event, but because, you got certain body language from people, you just started to pull yourself back. Well, I'm here to let you know that you do not have to apologize, and you do not have to step yourself back from where God has called you to shine. You do not have to apologize for being who you are. You have to own your own uniqueness, whatever it may be. You have to own it, because if you allow somebody to drain it from you, then you're not really doing that purpose that you were called to do. And it don't have to be something that's in the church, or it can be just something that you feel compassion about, that you allow somebody to pull that from you. Let your light shine. Be unique in your own way. Don't dim yourself for no one. I have an example of, yeah. Don't dim your light for no one. Remember, we're not letting them disturb our peace. We getting what we want as women. So we got to make sure our peace is intact, our soul is intact. Let me share this with you. I would be in the presence of other women, and I'm so proud of my children for going to college and getting their degrees, and then But for me, it was like, hey, get your bachelor's, you good to go. No, my kids went their father's steps. So I was really proud of them. So whenever I was in the midst of other women and they were talking about their children, and I would bring up my kids, well, my daughter went to Spelman, my daughter went to UCF, my baby was all over there. I started feeling some sort of way. So I was like, well, maybe I'm talking about that too much. Maybe they feel like I'm bragging, but I wasn't really bragging because after everything I said, but it was God that carried them through. Because we didn't have no money. We didn't have the money to get them through, but God. And I think it was more like a testimony saying how they continued their studies. And I prayed and I asked God to continue you know, to cover them and protect them because at the time, Dad and I, we barely could keep a roof over our head. So we couldn't really help like we wanted to, but they made it through. So those conversations that I'll be having, I started seeing like, hey, you know, here she go talking about that again. The impression that I was getting, maybe that's not what they were feeling, but I'm a big reader of body language. I read it. I read it. And I felt some sort of way. So then, in order to be part of that group, I started just kind of shutting down and laugh, letting them talk and not say how I felt because I felt like, I wasn't really trying to let my light shine, but I was just trying to let them know that through God, anything is possible. But they were shutting me down. So I kind of felt really small. So I just, kind of stayed back. And for a long time, that's how I was. I mean, in these relationships with in these communicating relationships with these women, but I can't really express how I'm feeling pretty much about anything. I I had a situation where I would tell somebody, well, being a military wife, this is how that was done when my husband was active duty. And it was considered that she thinks she know everything. So again, I backed out and I didn't say anything. But let me tell you something. Anybody that's been through something and I'm going down that road, please let me know. I don't want to. If I can avoid falling in the ditch from your experience, please tell me what's going to happen, what to look for, how to go around it. So we find ourselves shutting down our own self to make other people feel good about themselves. All the while, you just trying to fit in. But why? Why? Own your own uniqueness, no matter what it is. Own it. Don't get caught up in self-doubt. Like it's another time I was with these ladies, they were all college graduate, and I ain't got graduated from college. So I felt kind of like maybe I don't want to say anything because I don't want to sound stupid or I don't want to do this. But they kept asking my opinion. And I kept saying, no, maybe you can handle it. They kept asking my opinion. I realized then that it doesn't matter what type of education or background I have. I have a light that God has given me, and I'm going to let it shine. And if you have a problem with that, then move out of the way because I'm not going to stand in the shadows. I'm not going to stand behind in the shadows and hide who I am to make you feel good. That's just not going to happen. So that was one of the things, just keep reminding yourself and encouraging yourself that you are who God called you to be in whatever capacity it may be at work, it may be in volunteering, it may be at church, whatever you feel compassionate about, shine like a diamond, big, beautiful diamond, because God has not given you the spirit of fear, and you should never let anyone encourage you or make you feel fear because of who you are. That's crazy. Continue to set boundaries with people. You have to walk in your purpose, and people will take that from you. Remember, we talked about um don't disturb my peace. That's a big thing with setting boundaries with people. Because if you don't set boundaries, they'll walk on you, they'll trample you, like I said before. Your energy, your peace is your power. We talked about that. Your peace is your power. Hold on to that with everything that you have. Nobody deserves to take your peace. It belongs to you and no one else. And if you decide you want to give it to somebody, that's totally up to you. But hold on to that. Don't even your time, your energy. We talked about self care. We did talk about self care. What have you been doing for self care? Have you been taking that bubble bath? Have you been lighting that candle? Have you been reading your word? Have you found a good book to read? As a matter of fact, I just got a new library card, so I'm gonna be going to the library and getting me some of these books and just read. Just that's it's in educating yourself. It could be a cookbook, whatever your fancy is. You might want to learn a new recipe. I know my um I know my godson's mom. She's always posting recipes, so I know she's big on cooking. Go get something. Get something that's gonna give you some boost you up. Yeah, boost you up. Your time, your energy, and your peace is important. So hold on to it with everything you have. Walk in your purpose. Whatever your purpose may be, walk in your purpose. Reflect on how the clarity of your purpose brings you confidence. When you walk in your purpose of who you are, you build your own confidence. You don't need anyone to pat you on your back and tell you, "Oh, you're doing good. You're doing good." Nothing's wrong with being praised. Everybody wants to be praised, and everybody would like to hear it. But you got to be able to praise yourself. You got to be able to lift your own self up. In the Bible, David encouraged himself. I used to wonder what does that mean that he encouraged himself. But when I started looking in the mirror every morning and saying, "You look a mess, but you're beautiful. We got something to do today, so let's get it started." And that's just kind of how it went. I just began to tell myself all the time how pretty I was, and I not that I'm stuck up and I think I'm all that, because God knows I don't. But if I don't encourage me, how I'm gonna step outside that door and face the world, who most likely is not gonna encourage me? Between me and my husband, morning prayer, when I step out the door, I'm ready to do it. So basically, you have to walk in your purpose. You have to build your own confidence up in yourself. You do the things that light you up. If you like to dance, turn on some music and dance. You don't have to be at the club to get down. You can turn on some music and get down right in your living room. I do sometimes. I be in the kitchen. As a matter of fact, I was dancing this morning before I left for work. And it's so crazy because the day before I could barely lift my head. I was like, we alternate prayer week. So one week I pray in the morning, the next week my husband pray in the morning. But this week he had to pray twice because I just wasn't feeling it. However, this morning I woke up with a dance in my heart and a dancing in my feet. I prayed while he made coffee, and I head on out the door and did what I had to do. I walked in my purpose. I knew it was something that I needed to get done that day. I got out, I got it done. I had a great day at work, and I'm back home. I even took a little nap. So I even took it. I'm actually going through these different steps. So if I'm going too fast, stop me. Let me read the chat here. Hey Nat, my daughter's watching from Chicago, and hey Nikki, my daughter's watching from Tallahassee. Yeah, right. Affirmations. Nikki really encouraged me about affirmations. Nat really taught me how to take deep belly breaths. And I can say with just knowing those two things, I am a better person than what I was last year because I'm learning that everything doesn't require a response, you know, and and affirming myself that this is what I'm going to do and this is how it's going to get done. And just encouraging myself is just amazing. So I really try to walk in my purpose every day. It ain't easy every day, but I get on out there and I do it. I have gotten to the place where I'm no longer apologizing for who I am. If you can't get with me, that's fine. You don't have to you don't have to be disrespectful about it. You don't have to curse at me about it. We just parted ways, and it's okay because some people are just in your life for a season. They're in your life to build you, that help build, and then they go on about their businesses the same way with you. There are some people that God only get put in your life for a season for you to do what He called you to do and to move on, and that's okay. It's nothing wrong with it, but you can't sit back and apologize every time someone feel offended by you, because people are going to be offended by you no matter what. No matter what you say, no matter how you say it, no matter what you look like, It's gonna always be somebody that's gonna have an issue with you. And that used to hurt my heart so bad. So I used to be like, well, what did I do? Why this person just don't like me? I didn't do nothing to them, you know. But sometimes it just happened. I just had a situation that happened at work yesterday. One of the moms, she said she didn't like me. It was puzzling because she's the one that I had been texting for the last 3 days and back and forth, and I couldn't understand. So finally, I just went out and said, "We have a problem," and she said, "Yeah, I don't like you," and I said, "Why?" And she says, "Well, remember that meeting we was in? I've never been in a meeting with you." Well, yeah, we was at the principal's office. We was in the conference room. I was like, "No, not me. I've never been in a meeting with you." She was like, "Oh my goodness, no, it's not you." And I was like, "You know what? If I hadn't gone to her, we would have spent." Now, mind you, I'm holding her baby. Her baby is kissing and loving all on me, and she looking at me, rolling her eyes like, if I hadn't gone to her and said, "Hey, you," she actually had me mixed up with someone else. But but just had I not said anything, me and this lady would have went the whole school year not speaking. Where I'm taking care of your kid. Well, I'm overseeing your kid, but I do go in there and snuggle with the babies and take naps sometimes. So, if they'll let me. But I'm not gonna apologize for who I am because what God has given me, it has to be done. I have to shine. I have to do what He says. I have to live on purpose. And regardless of who don't like it, that's a personal problem. That's your problem and God's problem. That's not my problem. So when you find yourself in a situation where people just don't like you just because, it's not your problem. It's their problem. It's their problem and they can deal with God with it because what God has given you, no man can take it from you. And that's your peace, your joy, your love. Nobody can take that from you. I know it's a song that we used to sing when we were little. This joy that I have, the world can't have it and the world can't take it away. That's exactly how we have to be. We can't allow anyone to step on us, ruin our dreams, ruin us, and have us walking around with our head in the clouds while they sitting in a huddle with the next people talking about what they just did to you. We can't do that. We cannot do that. We have to stay rooted. We have to stay positive. We can't apologize for just being who we are. No, can't do that. Stay rooted, stay spiritual. If you have a relation to God, try not to lean to your own understanding. Trust me, it's not going to get you nowhere. But when you put God in and in Matthew 5 and 16, it says, let your light shine. And I can understand why out of all the things where he said, let your light shine. And then it dawned on me, throughout your life, it's going to be stages and ages until you get 100 if you make it that far. And in every age and every stage is going to be a reason for you to shine. And you get out there and you shine. I was so skeptical about going back to college at 58, but here I am trying to get myself together and get right back out there because I'm at an age and I'm at a stage that it's time for me to shine yet again. So we go through it every hour, every 3 years. It's a different stage, it's a different age, and it's time for you to shine. So let your light shine and don't be ashamed of it. Your light should be able to help you lift up other people. Your light should be able to help you lift yourself up. And your light should be able to help you pat yourself on the back and say, job well done, Patsy. You did that. So I'm like, yeah, you got it. You have to stay rooted. And if you have a relationship with the Lord God Almighty, He is awesome. I don't mean to preach to you today or to bring the Lord into it. But when I look back and I see things, and when I look back, as a matter of fact, went to a viewing last weekend, and I said, wow, this could have easily have been me. It could have easily been any one of us. But God saw fit for us to stay on the grind, hang in there, and, and do what we're called to do. So I was just forever I was like, wow, God is definitely calling his people home. But so far I'm not on the call list. So I'm thankful for that. I have Oh, hey, Melissa. It's my cousin from Atlanta. Hey, girl. Hey. Meditation, affirmation, and prayer. Also, what you think of me is none of my business. If it's rooted in negative energy, that is so true. What I had to get to that point, and I tell my daughters all the time. I used to be so concerned about other people think, how other people felt, that I used to literally make myself sick about it. And one day I woke up. I think I turned 40. It was my birthday. And I said, I can't. I done spent 40 years with this concern. I can no longer give them that type of energy and that type of power to damage me. So I said, you know what? If you're not paying any bills, credit cards, mortgage, car payment, any of that, I can't allow you to have that energy. Now, once you start paying that stuff, then I owe you an explanation. But as if you're not, then I don't. So I just have to let it go, you know. And sometimes it's so crazy because it be the people the closest to you that make you feel the worst, and that's okay. Hi, Jackie Griffith Anderson. Thank you so much for joining. I'd love to know where you were from. So yeah, and another thing too, surround yourself with like-minded people. I like I said, I went and I visited with my cousin and her husband and my niece and nephew um this this past weekend, and I felt so comfortable. I literally could let my hair down because when you're a pastor's wife, people put so many standards on you, like you gotta this and you gotta be like that and you gotta be like that. But when I was sitting in the presence of them, I felt so comfortable. You know, I felt good in my skin. I felt like I was in the presence of like-minded people, light barriers. The light just shined on them, which made it so easy to be accepted and feel comfortable in both their homes. I was just like, I felt like I was in my own living room, and that was so good to to be accepted, not judged, and comfortable. I mean, even my cousin dog got up and let me cuddle up with her. So, you know, like minded people are very important people. Okay, West Palm Beach in the house. Thanks, Miss Jackie. Oh, I see Sexy Girl C is in it. Hey, Cindy, how you doing? So we were talking about what were we talking? What was our topic? Not apologizing for your light. No apology. Just let your light shine. No, no. First lady, come on. Just let your light shine. You don't have to apologize for it. That was the topic. But now, if anybody want to call in, please call in 754-222-2219. And like I said, I just brought a topic, but if it's anything that you want to just kind of throw out there, even if you want to type it in, say, hey, I've been thinking, I've been going through this. What do you think about that? You never know, somebody may be able to answer your question other than myself. And I'm okay with that because believe it or not, I'm here learning as well as I'm encouraging. I think the whole point of this was just to encourage and empower women and build them up and let them know that you know what this world cannot revolve without us. We are in it and we're in this state from the beginning of the time. And it's just a few little things that we like to tweak because we don't want to be stepped on. We want to be heard. We want to be recognized because at the end of the day, we as women, we do that. We recognize, we appreciate, we show praise, we nurture. It's a never ending dose. So we want to be treated as just. So I think the whole process of this actual podcast was to just kind of really empower you. And by doing research and stuff, I'm really learning. I'm really learning a lot. So yeah. So just surround yourself with people that's gonna be light bearers. People that their light is shining just as bright as yours. Yeah, that part. So God has also given you skills and talents and beauty, and he shine his light on you daily. So when someone pass by you and they just be like, well, hey there, and your brain could be somewhere else, but that person said, "This is something about you. It's something that's something that's on you that made it." Because everybody don't speak when they pass you, but some people they'll just come out of nowhere and be like, "Hey, that's something about you. Like I need to know more about you. I need to know more about that light that you have, that light that's shining oh so bright, that light that God places on you every day." So walk in your purpose. Don't apologize for your shine. Let your light shine. Stay rooted in God. Surround yourself with people, with good people. You know, I think we talked about owning your uniqueness. Whatever is unique about you, own that and let it shine. Where you don't have to be running through the neighborhood with a flag saying, "Hey, I'm wonderful." No, you don't have to, because people see that. God will definitely show people. They'll be able to point that out in you. You won't even have to say anything. Don't stay quiet. If you have a circle of people that you're with and you got to dim your light so they can shine, that's the wrong circle. Find your new circle. Find your new circle, because there's no way that you should have to um, shut yourself down to make someone else feel good when you should be in it together. We should. I know I had saw a affirmation about don't um, when your sister's crown is crooked, don't talk about it. Lean over and adjust it, because you never know when she might have to adjust yours. So it's important for us to kind of stick together. It's important for us to kind of encourage each other and stay focused on what our purpose is and what God has called us to do, which is really, really important, that we would stay rooted and grounded in what God has called us to do. And whatever it is you do, if you do basket weaving, do it with the greatest ability that you can. And smile while you're at, whistle while you work. You know that song, whistle while you work. Do what you have to do to keep your mindset clear. Because again, people will definitely try and pull it from you. Yeah, so it's I'm gonna go to the chat. Melissa says, "I'm from the South, so I speak to everybody. You can imagine the stairs I get." Yeah, and me too. I'm like that. Wherever and you live in Atlanta, so I can only imagine when you walking by saying, "Hey," people looking at you like, "What is wrong with her?" You know. But that's just how we are. That's how we was also raised too. You don't walk into a room and not speak to people. You don't make eye contact with a person, walk right past them. If you're gonna make eye contact, say hello or hi. How you doing? Something. It's just rude. I think it's rude. So and I'll be like, oh, I'll pass, I'll say hey, and they don't say nothing. I was like, oh, wait a minute, did I say hey or was that just in my head? And I keep on walking, let them know that I did say hello and you didn't respond back, but maybe it was me, not you. Take ownership and keep it moving. Yeah. So that's pretty much how we that's pretty much what I have on letting shine without apology. And I'm really happy that I that this came up. I have definitely been seeking the Lord's advice on everything that I come on the podcast and do. Also, I do call the girls and ask them for suggestions, and they came with quite a few that I didn't get to it all in this setting, but I definitely will tag some of them in the next one. Uh, so just know that shining without apology means that you're just owning your worth and you're walking in your purpose and letting your light shine so that others may see that that's what you have. That's what you got a light to shine and you got to let it shine. Natalie said in the content, have you had any challenges with imposter syndrome and how did you overcome it? Imposter syndrome? What is that? I never heard of that. Please expound so I can answer that. Imposter syndrome. I guess being my light went out. I guess being someone that you're not. If right, Natalie, pretending to be somebody that you're not. I'm gonna wait for her to explain it to me, then I'll answer that. I think I'm in the right. But she can call in and 754-222-2219. Ask that question. Um, so just remember that letting your light shine means you don't have to hide it. You don't have to shrink it. You can shine bright like a diamond without apology. So, yeah, that would be it. But I also want to bring to your attention before we shut out that this month is Breast Cancer and Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Uh, okay. Um, so I have a video for you. I literally forgot about that video. Okay, let's play the first video, babe, and that way we can get in that time to let me know.
Really?
I like that video because sometimes as women, we will, like I was saying earlier, how I just kind of shut myself down to avoid what people's gonna think about me. Um, what people's gonna think about me before I just kind of threw it in. It took me a minute. 10 years later, I'm 40 years old, and I finally said, "I'm not done. I'm not doing this anymore. This is too much." Okay. I want to just give a shout out to Miss Terry Aponte in Wisconsin. Thank you for joining us. I think I have a caller on the line. Hello, hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Hi. Hi.
Hello.
So this is Nat. I wanted to clarify what imposter syndrome was.
Mhm.
Um, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you for calling.
Okay, great. Yeah. So imposter syndrome is like the feeling of inadequacy, and your skills in your accomplishments. So the feeling of not the feeling of that you're not worthy of like the praise and admiration, whether it's through your for your job or it's for a particular skill that you have. So that's what I wanted to know. Like, did you have you ever felt that, and how did you overcome it?
Um, I felt I, mm, let me think. You know, I was pregnant at 14, and I felt I felt like I was worthless, that I was never going to move forward in life, that it was just, and the adults was like, oh, yeah, she's about to have about 15 children. So I didn't have that encouragement. And I just really felt less of a person because I was a teenage mom and I wasn't ever going to get married. I wasn't ever going to have anything. I was going to be on public assistance for the rest of my life, me and my children. Then my children was going to be on it. So I really felt down, about that. And no matter how much I did to get myself out of it, I just didn't feel like I was worthy.
Mhm.
So it took me a minute to get to the point that, yeah, yes, you are. It took a long time, but as I got older and I started seeing things change and motivation and different things going and happening in my life, I was able to honestly go to God with that. I would I would punish myself, self guilt.
Mhm.
I was never enough for me. Like I was never enough for me. So it wasn't until I really just put it all in God's hand because I was starting to get tormenting myself with, uh, you got 3 kids, you're 20 years old, you got this, you're 21, you're not gonna, you're trying to go to school, but you're trying to do daycare, you're trying to do this. It was just a lot on me being a single parent. And I really felt that I wasn't worthy. And it took my relationship with God to kind of pull me out of there. Although I did get married. However, I still had to grow in that because even then I didn't feel like I was, like my self worth. This wasn't worthy. Like, why did this person marry me?
Mm.
He wants something from me. That's why he married me. He didn't marry me because he loved me. It was a self torture. And now I have like I have a therapist that I haven't visited in about 3 years, but I do need to do that. But I know that I can go and talk to someone about it to get me to that next point. And it definitely was a challenge, and it took me a long time to overcome it. But if I had to put two and two together, I'll have to say that I had to completely and totally give that to God because every time I gave it to someone else to help me out, I ended up with it back. Now I'm adding on it. Now it's like an onion, layers and layers and layers and layers. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Um, yeah, I think a lot of people feel that when they're young and they make a mistake, that it's kind of like all over.
Mhm.
And when they make it through, they feel like that, like that they are not deserving of, the type of things they have or the things they get when they get out of it, or um, and so I just wanted to know, like, that. I think it's really interesting, your view
Mhm.
on that. Um, and not only that, just also forgiving yourself for making a mistake. It's also very hard to do for a lot of people. And when you, I think once all of that is like kind of taken care of and it's talked through and you do give it to God, then that's like when your light can shine, I guess, the most, because you're that confident and I'm here because I'm worth it. And I'm living the life that I have because I'm worth it. And I have these skill sets because I'm worth it. So um, thank you so much for your view on that.
You're welcome. And also, look at it this way. If you don't deserve it, why not? Why don't you deserve it? You do. Then who? Why not you? Why not you? You deserve it. You deserve every blessing that God lays at your feet, every door, every window, everything that God does for you, every opportunity that you get, you deserve it. And that's how we have to look at it. If not you, then who? Your sister, your mom, your best friend, your neighbor. Why not you?
Hmm.
And that's how we have to look at things. Because God don't bless no mess. So you got to be doing something right, right?
Right.
All right. Well, thank you so much for calling in, my love. I appreciate you.
No, thank you for your view on this. I really appreciate it. And congratulations on the season or season finale.
Yay. Thank you.
Yay. Bye.
All right, bye. If anyone else want to call in or if anyone want to maybe add to what I said and encourage her, that would be great. Other than that, let me just get back to, I think I kind of jumped over breast cancer awareness. My dear friend, Donna Ferguson passed away from breast cancer. Ooh, I want to say, was it 2020 or 2019? I think it was 2019. And although she had went in and had a mammogram in October, she found out she had stage 4 cancer, breast cancer in February. Went into remission, but soon later, she passed away. So it's so important, ladies. The youngest person that have died from breast cancer was 19 years old. So you don't have to be old. You don't have to be old. It happens to all of us. So, they have these free mobiles out here. Go um, get it taken care of. Make sure you're good to go. We also had a young lady from our school that I worked with that went in that had never gone. And the first time she went, breast cancer. So I do, it's a pet peeve. I used to have a tea party um, in the month of October. I need to get back to that. Just life, but yeah, be vigilant. Get out there, get it tested, get checked because they do now. They're doing a lot more with early detection these days. So please don't hesitate. Especially for women of color, uh, get out there because we're at a higher rate. Us, Indian and Hispanic, is at a higher rate than our Caucasian sisters. So get out there, get it done, ladies. Don't hesitate. I know it's scary. I know it's nervous, but what's the worst part is if you don't know. You can't do anything about something that you don't know. So if you go and you get tested and you don't have to do anything, awesome. That's a great blessing. Also, if you go and you get something detected, guess what? That's a blessing too, because you got it first. You went out there and you got it done. Terry says that her mom had breast cancer and she survived that by the grace of God. Praise God. Praise God. Thank God. You know, um, and Natalie say mammograms are required at age 40. Well, it's changing. They'll start to get you out there earlier now, especially if you have any breast cancer in your family. So let's say your mother's sister may have had breast cancer and you're 18. They'll start testing you from 18 and they'll test you every 3 years just so because it's in your family. But if it's not in your family, then I think 40 is definitely the age that they call you in to be checked. But it's true. Go do it. As much as you hate to do it, it's not as uncomfortable as you think it is. It used to be really uncomfortable. Women used to be like, I'm not going because they're going to flat me to a pancake. They don't do that anymore. Technology has improved. As a matter of fact, they have a thing that go around your whole body and you don't even and you're just standing there. So definitely get that taken care of. Domestic violence. Domestic violence is my pet peeve because I am a survivor of that. Um, if you know someone that's being abused emotionally, mentally, physically, the scars that we don't see, the mental ones that we don't see. If you see your sister, um, just if you notice she was shining bright and all of a sudden she's shining no more, go talk to her. Is everything okay? You know, and just hear because sometimes they just want somebody to listen. And we're not therapists, so being a person that hid scars and hid bruises and hid bloody eyes and stuff like that, I can pretty much pick up on the body language of someone that's going through something. I don't I don't go out looking for stuff like that, but if I see somebody that all of a sudden their light is dimming, and it don't have to be from a male. It could be from a female. It could be from a family member. It could be anybody. Domestic violence don't only hold with men. Some women beat men. Domestic violence can be a brother against a sister. It can be in the household. So if you know anybody, make sure you get them to the right person so that they can get some help. I know here in Broward we have women in distress, we have kids in distress. If you know somebody, I know the shelters are quite full these days, but when somebody's in a violent situation, they go to the top of the list because they'll feel like they don't have anyone on their side and they don't know what to do. So if you know someone, and that's pretty much throughout the United States, anyone that's in a domestic violence situation, they go right to the top of the list. Anybody with children, right to the top of the list. So, and sometimes that list can be pretty long, and they may have to wait a minute, but they got to get the help that they need because at the end of the day, running away is better than death, and sometimes it ends in death, and it's not fair, it's not cool, and they get scared and they get afraid to tell people because they're afraid of the abuser. Um, in my situation, my abuser was a police officer. So who do I go to? It was serious. It was serious, but by the grace of God, I the Lord saw fit for me. He had a whole nother plan for me, a plan that I had no clue. You know, they say when you make your own plans, God laugh at you. And so it was difficult to get out, but God opened a door and a window, and I was able to get out. Um, Miss Terry says also regarding domestic violence getaway, tell someone to seek help. You do not have to deal with that alone. Absolutely. And again, it's not as easy to seek help as people think it is. You think that you can just up and go. But if you've been threatening, your child's life has been threatened, it's difficult to get up and go. But there are ways that you could have your plan of attack, and you can get on out and start copying and start copying passports and birth certificates and putting them outside, bury them in the ground. Because when you go, you got to go. You may have to leave everything, but don't be afraid. There is um, help out there for you, and you have to take that step, right? So that that was that domestic violence is really a pet peeve for me. It's just really dear to me, and so sometimes I get a little choked up, even after all these years, and it's been years, like almost 35. Wait a minute, it's been almost 40 years, almost 40 years since that experience. So imagine for someone who has only been 5 years or 2 years, so it's still a little fresh. But I mean, it still reminds me of letting and encourage people to get away. You got to get away, and you got to get some help. You just do, right? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. We have one more video. Can we roll that video? Hello,
This is the last year of my life where I dim my light so other people can feel comfortable. I'm not bougie. I'm not arrogant. I'm not stuck up. But if my light offend you, that's between you and the light giver. Let your light shine. If you ain't comfortable around me, find a new friend. But I'm done acting like I am not who I am. So you can be comfortable with who you lie to tell yourself you are. I am the head, not the tail. I am above and not beneath. As a matter of fact, if you knew like I knew, you would hang closer to me. Because everybody who stays close to me, the favor just rubs off on them. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Can I ask you a question? Why you mad about my light when I told you it was just a little light? What you going to do when God really turned me up this year? I don't care how dark my family used to be. When I show up, it's time to turn the light on. I'm getting ready to break every generational curse, every generational lie. If we didn't have no money before me, I speak we gonna have it after me. Tell them, shine your light, shine your light. Be who God called you to be.
yes, yes, absolutely. So my words of encouragement is to let your light shine. Be who God called you to be. Hang in there. Do what makes you happy. Don't dim your light for anyone. Your light is meant to be seen. Don't hide it. Don't shrink it. Shine without apology. And with that being said, we're going to tune off and I'll see you guys next season. Thank you again for joining me. My heart goes out. I will keep you all in my prayers. Again, thank you and I love you.